Do you think Unity tutorials on YouTube or they're lacking niche topics, or you think there's plenty of content on YouTube? Personally, I think that there's plenty of tutorials on Unity, lots of tutorials. I think there's plenty of them. Um, Let me think. Yeah, I think it's plenty of things that you can find on Unity. I think for me, in my case, whenever I need something, I just Google it real quick, and either AI answers it, or just like there's a column community forum that kind of answers that. Typically, if I'm stuck at something, I kind of know what to do. I think Unity already has like the basics, right? And really, that's all you need to do. Just kind of have like the basics down. And then YouTube does. There's a lot of content, that on YouTube already that's has all the basic stuff down. I don't think it's gonna matter if Bracky says it or some other guy says it. In general, like the basics are still there, and it doesn't matter if I say it or maybe some other, YouTuber says it. There's plenty of tutorials in there, and I don't think there's no need to do like things so many other ways. Like you can just say, oh, just watch, this guy's tutorial, or watch Code Monkey's tutorial, or watch this other person's tutorial, right? It's been done like a million times. Unless if like something like, let's just say Unity 7 or something like that, or Unity 6.5 or something crazy happens, and they just change the whole way of, scripting, then maybe that would be something that you would need a whole new tutorial system. But if it's really all the same and it's just kind of like going back to how it was before, just simple transform, like player movements, stuff like that. I don't think that we need like another YouTube, video to just check out the same, just same but a different person. Brackus is good enough, or Code Monkeys is good enough, or just online. Honestly, you can just look it up online. Obviously, learn the process, learn what are if loops, what are for loops, learn what are transforms, learn the process, what are rigid bodies, colliders, rate casting, that sort of thing. That's probably what I would say like the best option is. Tutorials are funny because there is so much such thing as too many. Different ones will work for different people. I don't think there are many gaps, or the gaps are that are there are too specific rare. Um, I think, yeah, you can find different ways of people doing different things, but the idea is that you develop your own structure, right? When you code, you don't want to code like how, Bracky's codes, or you don't want to code like maybe how another person code. Unless if you want to like follow that structure, you can, but you kind of have to find like your own identity, your own code structure that works for you. Like for me, I take a lot of code from maybe, before I would take code and then I would just kind of copy and paste it, and I realized this isn't wrong because I didn't understand it. Why weren't they putting all these comments, or why were they doing, a certain method instead of using it some other way? So what I end up doing is kind of like understanding what they're doing and then structured it in a way that works for me. And really that's what you want to get into, where you can easily just look up a tutorial and say, okay, I can change this my way, and I kind of understand like how it works. For example, dots, or maybe it could be, a simple structure on rigid body, for example, a little scripture, how to change from a rigid body from a dynamic to a static in a code. Then yeah, I would say I would code it my way, and I would probably do some other way of like maybe a method or an update sort of structure. I don't really think that, it's, yeah, obviously everybody's gonna code differently. I code much differently from others. But I have it that way because it's a lot easier for me to structure it. I just like learning it that way. Yeah, you want to learn the rules so you can break them intentionally instead of ignorantly, where you want to be aware of the issues that are causing. Yeah, exactly. I think you want to be aware of what the rules are, what are the basic things. Just understanding the fundamentals, right? It's like math. You understand the fundamentals, you can kind of like solve for X many different ways, as long as you understand like how to get there and get the right way of solving for X. Right? That's really the same thing. Everybody's gonna have like their own unique style. Maybe some people will do tallies, and some people will just do a manual format, or maybe they'll do it some other way to figure out how to solve for X. And it's not really a wrong way. It's just whatever is efficient for you to code with. I don't like that sort of structure where you, I don't know, you have to follow this sort of structure or code. No, do what you want. Do it. Obviously, that's easy. And if you're working with a team of coders, then yes, you kind of have to follow like their structure, so everybody is aware of what what you need to do. A lot of tutorials don't give enough explanations. True. Right? There's a couple of tutorials that they don't provide a lot of details, but sometimes you don't really need to provide. Like sometimes they'll tell you, okay, do this for loop now, and then do this and do that, and then you'll tell like, what the hell is a for loop, or what the hell is rigid body, for example, right? If you're new, you're not gonna know what the hell a rigid body is, right? You're gonna say, what is this? Or what does a box collector do? Or what does this rate casting thing do? Right? You need like a little bit more explanation. But oftentimes I would say just going to the Google Docs helps more than watching the tutorials. That's really more like you want to copy and paste things. But if you really want to understand the fundamentals, I would say just kind of get into the Unity docs, read it, understand it a little bit better. And they provide good examples there too. I think that's really a better approach. A lot of tutorials do shortcuts that is not good code. That's true. Some people do shortcuts. I do lots of shortcuts. But I know what I'm doing. That's the difference. I know how to code, and I do sometimes all like do shortcuts. You guys see me when I do the serialized field and I just type SE. It's not a good practice for a beginner. I would say don't do that. Don't follow the way I do it. I do shortcuts because I know how to structure it in a way that's fast, it's easy, and convenient for me, right? But if you're brand new, I would definitely not show you how to code the way I normally code. I have to kind of like follow like a little manual, say, okay, this is how you code. Later on, you can do your shortcuts and do different things. The ones that say do X without saying why do you do X drives me crazy. Have not watched a tutorial for a while though. I haven't watched any. I don't really need tutorials on YouTube, so I don't know. Yeah, they often say, yo, you gotta do this, but they get into the impression that you're just gonna copy and paste code anyways. It depends who's watching it. A lot of times they just want like, oh, just give me the copy paste version. Just show me the code. I don't care why it works. I just want it to work. So there could be that issue too, where people are just kind of like, oh, I just want it to work. I think honestly, when it comes to YouTube tutorials, it's kind of good, a hands-on kind of good thing to watch it, but don't get stuck in there on tutorial hell. That's another subject we can talk about, tutorial hell. You have to be careful with tutorial hell. Just keep in mind that there is such thing. Read the docs, understand why things work the way they do. Don't just copy and paste. Yeah, that's what a lot of tutorials do, is tell how they do it. Yeah, they do just simple things. I make things public when I'm feeling too lazy to write serialized field. I'm not the only one using my code, so I don't need to worry about using people messing up my things any way that they should. Yeah, that's true. It's more of a habit, honestly. I like to do serialized, I like to do private things, but I just do it out of habit. I just like keeping it that way. Sometimes I do public, but I prefer not to do public, just in case if something crazy happens, or maybe I'm calling another method, or maybe another field is like, oh, I didn't mean to call this field. I probably should have kept that private. So it depends. Honestly, it depends on what kind of structure you want to do. Like I said, some people do everything public, and I've seen it. I've seen people on stream where they're just public, and it drives me nuts because I like to do things private too. I don't know. For me, it's more of a consideration for me. It's like for me, it drives me nuts if I don't see it. Yeah, see, some of you guys do the same. You just make it all public, and then who cares? It doesn't really matter. I like to make it private just because it's more of a organization structure. Sometimes I don't want to see on the serializable or on the inspector, and sometimes I do. So I kind of remove it in that sense. Because if you see too many things like they're public, like, oh damn, there's a bunch of these fields that are, in the inspector in Unity, there may be a few things I might want to not show on the inspector. So yeah, sometimes I do private, and sometimes I like to just put it as serialized. I don't know, it's just a habit now, I think. Headers too. Honestly, I don't need to put headers, but I like it. because it just makes it easy when I come back to it. Say I go somewhere, or I don't go into a project for a while. I can kind of come back to it and go, okay, I know what to do here. I know how to code this. I know why I did this, sort of thing. It's kind of like just for you to not forget, that sort of thing. You don't want people to see your code and pen it and sell it, do you? I don't think anybody's gonna see your code. It's I know some people think it's art, but it's not really that much. Like Nintendo? Nah, I don't think so. I don't think that's gonna happen. Like I said, everybody has a different way of coding. Some people call it art. I call it just your unique personality. How you code. That's really what it comes down to. It comes down to your personality. So whenever you're doing code, do it to what your personality is. Don't just do it because, oh, just gonna copy and paste it. No, that's not gonna work. Do it to whatever your personality is, and then you're gonna find coding much easier, right? Obviously, it's not for everybody. Just take your time, learn the process, fundamentals, understand how to, do different things, and put it your way, right? Don't just kind of do it the way that, Brackeys or CodeMonkey did it, just because it looks right. No, do it your way because it works and you like that way. That's really the best option I can say.